sold our house in California.
I sold the price.
The first house I bought in California, how much did it? 118. 118.
Well, what year was that?
1988.
Well,
Well, that might buy the driveway now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not even the pool,
Yeah.
just the driveway. That's five.
Oh, it's 5. We can start the meeting.
Well, good evening, folks. Call to order.
Just a moment.
Roll call and pledge of allegiance.
Just a moment. Let Sam to start our live stream.
Good to go?
Okay.
Is she okay?
Yep.
All right. Tell pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Haven't even started yet.
We just started.
There's 20 lip lashes for being a minute late. Well, I guess the first thing is roll call. All right. Item 1 then is approval of the Board of Adjustment meeting minutes dated June 12, 2023. Any comments? All those in favor?
We need Mayor, Chairman, we need a motion first, please.
Huh?
A motion first, please.
I made a motion for approval.
Okay.
All those in favor?
I need and was there a second?
She said.
Oh, wait. Okay,
Okay.
now all those in favor.
Huh?
Aye.
Now all those in favor.
Now all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those against? Passes. Item 2. Discussion, possible action, request for variance to zoning standards. Stacy?
Thank you, Chairman, and members of the Board of Adjustment. We're looking at or listening to case number 2229V. It's a variance at 8217 East Spanish Boot Road. Applicant Mr. Austin, I'm not going to say your name right, Weisevich? Close? For the owners, Mr. and Mrs. Tony and Diane Irochi. His name? Thank you. I had a little practice. Your spouse told me that I had gotten it right the first time. So we are looking for allowing for the expansion and construction of an addition to an existing residence. And specifically, the request is an encroachment of 11 feet 1 inch into the required 60-foot rear yard setback for the expansion of some livable area of an existing home and a new patio cover. And I know it sounds just, as we're sort of, still kind of orienting ourselves to some of these cases with some of our newer members. I know it sounds funny, we say encroachment of 11 feet 1 inch, meaning that if there's 60 feet, you are moving closer to the property line by 11 feet 1 inch. And so I know you saw that in your reports too. But now the proposal is that the addition and the corner of the patio cover is 48 feet 11 inches. So with that mouthful, so this is sort of our location, so you can see the area. This is one of our properties up in the Highlands in Cow Track 2. The site specifically you can see off of Spanish Boot. Then looking at an aerial map a little bit more closely at the property, and here you can really see sort of the non-conforming issue or the non-conformance of the existing structure. Being a rural 190 property, the setbacks are 60 feet front and rear and 30 feet on the sides. This house you can see was originally built probably up closer to or on the ridge line in that location. And at the time when prior to we were incorporated, many homes were built in what are our current setbacks today. So with that said, this site plan describes really sort of the request in general. You can see in orange the addition to the existing residence and then the adjacent proposed new patio just next to that. And it's that patio corner that is, aside from you can see that also the livable area is in part in the setback as well. But we're looking at the most extreme condition, which is the 48 feet 11 inches at the patio cover itself. And hopefully you can see how this site plan sort of describes the request itself. I think it's important to note that there's an existing wall, and they are not looking to, they're doing all of the proposed work within the disturbed area and existing site wall, excuse me. So to understand a little bit more, and to sort of get a feel for sort of on the ground as well as what this will look like, you can see the proposed addition up on the southern side, or the south elevation. You can see sort of in a dash line, you can see sort of where the new livable area is being proposed, as well as the patio addition. You can see that they're designing it so it's contextual and matches the existing home. The west elevation also is probably the one that that'll have the most impact in terms of what it will look like. But you can see really there's not a dramatic change, and it's still an aesthetic elevation that they're proposing. Citizen participation requirements have been met. They complied with those requirements of the ordinance. Staff did have a conversation with the neighbors to the south. You can see that there's a star. They were aware that the hearing is today. They had concerns about what they would be looking at, but I think their biggest concern was if there was going to be anything changing outside of that wall, and so we told them that that would not be the case. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but also this is a public hearing, so you open that up, and the public is welcome to ask questions or make comments.
Do you have anything? No?
No.
Presented quite well, thank you.
Thank you. I know I sort of you get a lot of information in your staff reports, but very happy to answer anything if I, sure.
Sorry, I wasn't in my microphone.
You're okay.
Okay, so is there an HOA here? Was there any?
Chairman and Board Member Dahlman, no, there is not in Caltrack 2.
Okay, thanks.
That's a good question.
Any questions from the public?
Well, now you open up the public hearing.
Open up the public. No one else got anything. You have anything?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Open up to the public.
Yep.
Don't all come at once.
Well, you're not required to, but if you have any comments or questions, you're more than welcome to ask. If not, we can close the public hearing if there's no other interests. Okay, so I don't think there's any interest from the public, so you can close the public hearing.
All right. Close the case. So, all those in favor say aye.
You need to entertain
I
a
move
motion.
that we approve.
Oh, yeah.
And I
okay.
second.
Okay, okay,
Second.
I motion that we approve.
okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Negative?
very good.
Approved.
Less than 8 minutes.
Thank you.
It's gonna be nice. It's going to be beautiful.
Better be nice.
It looks nice, it looks nice.
Lovely. It's time.
Well, as you said, Carefree didn't exist at that time as a recognized entity.
Yeah. Yeah.
The house I live in was built in 1965.
Fantastic.
Good luck.
Enjoy the changes.
Joy,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you. So,
Beeping.
Somebody's beeping.
I think it must be outside.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I just want to let you know, I do have one announcement. It's not Board of Adjustment related, but I figured it might be an appropriate time to mention it, is that we do have our community workshop for the general plan update on Monday, July 17th, starting at 5 o'clock. It's a discussion about open space, and representatives from the State Land Department will be present, as well as our consultant, Matt. So I think that's going to be a really good conversation.
It's gonna be a wild one.
It's going to be a good one. So I think we're going to talk, I mean, we all know that the the state land piece is of a great concern, but open space in general is a great concern in Carefree, so it'll be sort of also an open discussion, oh my gosh, here's my computer, about that. It starts at 5 o'clock here, on Monday. So there's no discussion necessary now, so you can we need a motion to
We have a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn?
I move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
All right, so we just have to wait about 5 more minutes to start our
5:15, yeah.
our development review board. Sam, do you need me to do anything here? Okay. How are you, Ron? Good to see you.
Stacy, how far is Cowtrack, the outer boundary of Carefree, how far does that go beyond that subdivision?
It goes a little bit further north.
Yeah.
Because I drove up there and I had no idea.
It
Oh, I
does.
got lost up there myself. I
Yeah.
went looking.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful up there.
It is
I would say
gorgeous.
like Grapevine is probably one of the last streets, northern streets of the Highlands area.
No idea.
Yeah.
Me neither.
On the
So I
edge
went and
of
looked.
Yeah.
Cowtrack. I live in the last one acre lot,
Okay.
then everything else is 5s and
But you start looking at it,
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 acres each property, right, up there? 5?
Like no man's land out
I was
there.
like,
Minimum.
wow, this is
Gorgeous.
beautiful
Very
up
rural.
here.
Yeah, it is really
Yeah,
pretty.
right.
and if you haven't been up there before, some of those homes are just mind-boggling.
Oh, I know, they are.
Yeah.
I was amazed.
Yeah. I hadn't been up there for a couple of years, but then you look on the recorder's page where, how far North Carefree goes and who owns what and where Maricopa County and the state is, and it's just a mixed bag.
Kind of goes like this.
Yeah.
Goes in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No,
kinda
I
crazy.
usually have to use my GPS when I'm driving around there too. I just, as long as I've, worked here and gone up that way, sometimes there's just little ways to get around that
Oh, yeah.
I get lost.
And then find my way out of it.
You want to get lost.
Yeah, I
Is your microphone,
What?
is your microphone, do you have to have that thing buried on you?
I mean, you didn't hear me? Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot better.
Is that better than I was? Okay.
suck on it.
Yeah. I don't,
But it's amazing those houses were built in the 50s and 60s.
I think it's visionary people,
It probably was the wagon train roads for a while.
Cowtrack.
Cow track, yeah, Silver Spur, Spur Cross. Yeah, it's,
The mines, the gold mines too.
yeah,
So many of them though, I don't know how they built them. I mean,
carefully.
Yeah,
And forever.
yeah.
Well, the founding fathers were really hustlers. They know how to hustle properties and stuff.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's any of those builders still around and share some of their experience with that.
Yes.
Is Jerry Jones, is he still alive? Is he still?
Just barely, but he's living in Tempe now,
Oh.
yeah. Actually, excuse me, Phoenix in the,
I think he's in Arcadia. Isn't he
Arcadia
in
area.
Arcadia?
Yeah, yeah, he lives in the Arcadia area. And then the house apparently has been sold because now you look at the ownership of it, some rental operation.
An LLC, because I looked it up. I think it's a LLC or.
Stacy, what percentage of our short-term rentals are now fully compliant with the written licensing?
Very, very small percentage. We're working on it. Yeah.
I was interested
So.
because I've not heard anything as a next
Yeah.
door neighbour.
We sent out a round of notification letters, and I think it's time for round 2.
And a fine.
So, and what?
And a fine.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean,
Short-term
in fairness for us, we're still sort of, feeling our way around the process. Making sure how we, because Dennis Randolph and I are working on it a little bit together, and it really is kind of his, in his court, but, having the right checklists and figuring out sort of, I think we need to make some packets for people to make sure they have all the forms. It's been a bit of a hand-holding for the few that we've done so far, but,
I got the email from Scottsdale, so, and they were saying not very.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think people, they just wait till they're told to do so, right? So, but we're,
Look forward to my next door neighbours being told.
Yes.
We were in Minnesota last month. We stayed at my brother had made arrangements at this one. The house is built back in the 20s.
You know,
And it was, so they had a second floor and a first floor rental on the thing. And all the old stairs and everything. Oh my God, it was just, and part of it was a patio and they converted it into a bedroom to boot. And it just, but then my brother's got an Airbnb down in,
I think I'll make a note that we'll send out another email.
and, it's really superb. But then where he's at in Rogers, Arkansas is only about 15 miles north of Bentonville, which is Walton.
Oh,
Mark
yeah.
City,
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
City.
Yeah.
Stacy, is there a way to find out where all the short-term rentals are?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we do. We have a software called Rentalscape, and so yes.
Well, while we're at it, it's 5:15, so it'd be time to start the Development Review
idea.
Board meeting. And, we get this quite, we have two of them, we do the Pledge of Allegiance again?
No, I don't think you have to do the
Yeah.
Pledge of Allegiance again, but I would do, approval of the minutes and.
Yeah. And then we need, so item 1 will be the approval of Development Review Board minutes dated May 1st, 2023. Any questions? Anybody got a motion?
Right there.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried. Oh, Stacy?
Okay. So tonight's Development Review Board meeting, we have case number 2229 MS, one of our mountainside cases. This is a property located at 37252 Nevermind Trail in Carefree. We have the applicant here, Mr. Ron Brissett. He's representing the owner, Mr. Robert Wallace. Again, I know we've gone through these before and the reports are pretty thorough, but we'll just go through the information, and of course, if there's any questions for myself or the applicant, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer. So again, this is an interesting site, in my opinion. It's sort of at the base, one of the bases of sort of the northern base of Black Mountain in Carefree, off a Nevermind Trail where it turns, I think, to Military. You can see it's vacant. There is a shared driveway to 2 lots beyond, one that's developed and one that is not. And there's actually a very large vacant parcel to the west. It's just nestled to the west also of Nighthawk on Black Mountain subdivision, where we also see a lot of our mountainside cases. Looking at this a little bit more closely, so the lighter green is our steepest slopes, from that to the light green to the yellow to the red. So there are the slopes that kick this property into the mountainside requirements. But I think what it also does, what's interesting about this one, is it's also sometimes not just about slopes, it's also about our sensitive features that are of value to the town of Carefree, such as boulders, such as a significant wash as this. And you can see what the applicant had created was a series of where they pointed out sort of some really beautiful rock outcroppings. And you can see those are really sort of kind of nestled next to and amongst the wash. So again, it's not just always about steep slopes, it's about other features that are key. So in terms of the development standards, which are the zoning ordinance particular that they have, that any lot has to comply with, or any mountainside lot must comply with, under this zoning district, there's a 13% maximum lot coverage, which is anything under a solid roof, livable or non-livable. This proposal is 8.4%, a little more than that. There's a 39% disturbed area maximum, and this one also meets that maximum, but it does include the septic reserve fields, which was probably a good idea to include that as in this process. In this case, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, and this was described in a little bit more detail in your reports, is that this particular lot is looking for some setback relief, which we can consider under the mountainside ordinance. And it's related to the percentage of area that they look to conserve on their property. And so from the 60-foot front and rear and 30-foot sides, you are in the ordinance permitted to reduce 2 yard setbacks. And in this case, the request is for the rear yard and then the side yard on the east. Our cumulative height, as you know, is from the lowest point of natural grade under a structure to the highest point of a parapet or roof line. And so in this case, we always allow 40 feet. In this case, it is proposed at 33.5 feet. So that is in compliance, as well as the building itself is at a maximum height of 24 feet, both above natural and finished grade. Our other requirements that must be met are the grading and drainage requirements, such as meeting the town standards, which our town engineer Mark Millstone reviews, as well as the cut and fill ratio, meaning that there must be more cut than fill under the building pad. So they do comply in this case. The utilities related to this property are now Carefree Water. And then, as I mentioned just before, there is a private septic system for wastewater. Now, what the Development Review Board also looks at is the development contextual to the area. It's proposed desert colors that we like to see, less than the 40 light reflective value. There's also native landscaping and revegetation that's being proposed as part of any of the disturbance areas. And as I mentioned, we'll look at this in just a moment, our conservation easement dedication, which allows for that relief in the setbacks. Lastly, there are, as I mentioned, environmentally sensitive features. There's the significant wash, and it does have the steep slopes, but also significant rock outcroppings and some protected vegetation. So to look at that conservation easement in detail, you can see the area that falls under the 45% dedication, and basically it encompasses the wash and those significant rock outcroppings. And so as you can see in the light orange, where the traditional or the typical setbacks of the 30 feet front and rear and 60 on the sides, the two setbacks, again, the one on the east is looking for a reduction to 7.5 feet. And for the rear yard, they're looking for a reduction down to 15 feet. And it's really that rear yard reduction that allows for some encroachment into what is our typical setback you can see in that southern part of the garage. Now the conservation area will be dedicated to the town, and so the town will be sort of the ones that would be the purveyors to know that there would be no further or any kind of development in that area.
Will that be a deed restriction as far as the conver-?
It will be an it will be an actual easement. And just so, we like to see the landscape plan. You can see that there's significant landscaping in all the disturbed areas, also within the terrace retaining walls that were described in your report. A lot of that vegetation is the existing vegetation that's required to be salvaged if it's deemed salvageable. So just looking at all angles, as you could see how the home sits in the landscape, you can see the terrace walls. Again, you know that retaining walls help to minimize disturbance and so within those sort of terraces there will be landscaping to help sort of break down sort of the scale of the development itself. And in terms of the public process, this also followed our citizen participation requirements, and there was no resident feedback, nor was there any feedback received by the town. And then, other than the conditions of approval, those have been attached to your report. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, or if you have any questions or comments for the applicant.
If you have any questions, I got more or less a statement. It's going to be an incredible project, and it's certainly superb utilization of the site as that's there. Just looking at it and thinking, yeah, this could be some kind of a construction job, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice that we can conserve property that is, of value to I know it's on one smaller lot, but it's still a town value, and, surrounding property owners would appreciate it.
Tent there with observation seats and whatnot, and, so we sit there and watch this going on. This is going to be a job and a half.
Just the site excavation alone, just gonna be interesting.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, one question. The private septic system, does that come back for a separate approval, or is it just as indicated in the plan?
Chairman and I keep saying Commissioner, Board Member Smith, my apologies. No, it will not come back to us, and the reason being is, for one, septic systems are permitted through Maricopa County. We just like to see where they are in terms of the planning process so that we know the area of disturbance. And so since they've included their reserve field as well as part of this process, then no, it won't come back to us.
Okay, how about the property south of this? What is their stance, or is there blocking to their visual, what they see going up, looking up the hill? Is there something that they're missing, or an issue with it?
Right, I don't believe so, but I think I'll let the applicant speak to that. We haven't received any sort of feedback from them. They did receive our notification, but I think you might be able to explain sort of, I think the driveway continues to go up, so they will look over. You're more than welcome to.
Yes, it does.
You can go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, the driveway continues to go up the hill. Where we're proposing to place the home, it's probably 25 feet below for south.
Oh, it's down. Okay.
We're really dug in on that end too, and
Here, I can do.
they got the package. We didn't get any comment at all from them, so assuming there's no issues.
Okay, that would be my only concern. Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Comments from the public?
It was pretty quiet then.
What? Do I have a motion to approve?
Thank
So
you.
moved.
No.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Happy building.
Yeah, good luck.
Have fun.
How long do you think it's gonna take?
Yeah.
Well, we've got a quick builder, but it's still gonna be, close to a couple.
Yeah.
That's what I would have guessed.
How fun, though.
And it'll be
Yeah, it's a fun
spectacular.
project. I'm
It'll be
excited
nice.
for you.
I don't have any,
Screw it up by having fun.
I don't have any announcements. I just made your announcements in the last meeting, so no announcements. Well, I just made, unless you want me to announce the same thing I did at the other meeting, so. Okay.
Well, in that case,
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting.
Great, good job, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's gonna be 27 minutes.
Wow.
Set a record.
Second slowest, or quickest one, right?
2 cases in 27 minutes.
It's not about how fast we do these things.
Is it gonna be 27 minutes higher?
Yeah,
That I